Do you refrigerate your tomatoes, garlic, or even bread thinking you're keeping them fresh and safe? What if I told you that this everyday habit could be doing the exact opposite, especially if you're over 60? For more than a decade, I've worked closely with older adults to improve their health through better habits, and one of the most common mistakes I see is treating the fridge as a catch-all storage space. It seems like a safe bet, cold means preserved, right? But not always. In fact, some of the most common foods we toss into the refrigerator can lose their flavor, texture, and even critical nutrients once they're exposed to the cold. In some cases, refrigeration can actually trigger chemical changes that aren't just unpleasant, they're harmful to your health. And here's why that matters more than ever as we age. Our sense of taste becomes less sharp, our digestion slows, and our bodies become less efficient at absorbing nutrients. That means every bite we take has to work harder, bringing us not just calories, but value. But when your avocados stay rock hard, your garlic sprouts prematurely, or your bread goes stale overnight, chances are it's not your cooking, it's your fridge. That's why in today's video, I'm going to walk you through 9 everyday foods you should never refrigerate, and I'll explain exactly why. With over 10 years of experience helping seniors create smarter kitchens and healthier routines, I can tell you this: food storage isn't just about convenience. It's about protecting your health, preserving nutrients, and making sure every meal is both enjoyable and beneficial. So before you put that next bag of onions, that loaf of bread, or that bundle of bananas into the fridge, stick with me. We'll break down the science behind what happens when these foods get too cold, and I'll give you simple, effective tips to store them the right way instead. And here's something fun. If any of these surprise you, if you realize you've been storing something wrong your whole life, drop a comment below with the words "no fridge mistakes." Trust me, you're not alone. While you're here, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss out on practical, senior-focused health tips that make a real difference. Now, let's get started with the first food. It's in nearly every kitchen, but keeping it in the fridge could be one of the worst things you do for both flavor and health. 1. Potatoes. Let's start with a food that almost everyone has in their kitchen: potatoes. They're affordable, versatile, and comforting. But storing them in the refrigerator? That's one of the most common mistakes I see, especially among older adults who want to make their food last longer. It seems logical to toss your potatoes into the fridge to keep them fresh, but what actually happens inside that cold environment might surprise you. When potatoes are exposed to low temperatures, the natural starches in them begin to convert into sugar. That might sound harmless. After all, we all like a little sweetness, right? But in this case, the shift changes both taste and texture. Instead of that soft, fluffy interior you expect from a baked or mashed potato, you may end up with something gritty, oddly sweet, and frankly disappointing. But there's more. Over the past decade, I've worked with countless seniors who were shocked to learn that cold-stored potatoes, when cooked at high heat, can form a chemical called acrylamide, a compound that's been linked to an increased risk of cancer in multiple studies. This risk may not seem alarming at first, but for older adults, whose bodies are more sensitive to toxic buildup, it's worth paying attention to. Another issue? Moisture. The fridge creates a damp environment that potatoes simply don't tolerate well. That dampness encourages the growth of mold, soft spots, and spoilage. Instead of extending shelf life, refrigeration can actually make your potatoes go bad faster. So what's the better option? Store your potatoes in a cool, dark, well-ventilated place, like a pantry, cellar, or a paper or mesh bag in a cupboard. Avoid plastic bags, which trap moisture and speed up rot. And here's a key tip from my clinical experience: keep potatoes away from onions. While they seem like natural pantry partners, onions release gases that can cause your potatoes to spoil faster. And seniors, please be extra cautious with potatoes that have green skin or sprouts. That green tint means solanine is forming, a natural toxin that can cause nausea, headaches, and even neurological symptoms if consumed in larger amounts. As we age, our ability to detoxify substances like solanine naturally decreases, so prevention is key. So next time you bring home a bag of potatoes, skip the fridge. Give them a dry, cool home, and you'll preserve their flavor, protect their nutrients, and reduce your exposure to hidden health risks. It's a small change, but it can make a big difference. 2. Tomatoes. Now let's talk about tomatoes, a true staple in most kitchens. Whether you're slicing them for sandwiches, adding them to salads, or cooking up your favorite pasta sauce, tomatoes are flavorful, versatile, and rich in powerful nutrients. But here's something that might surprise you. Putting your tomatoes in the refrigerator can actually ruin everything that makes them great. As someone who's spent over a decade helping older adults improve their nutrition, I've seen this mistake more often than you'd think. It's easy to assume that refrigerating tomatoes keeps them fresh, but what it really does is stop their natural ripening process in its tracks. Instead of ripening into juicy, sweet, and vibrant fruits, they become bland, watery, and often mealy in texture. That's because cold temperatures break down the delicate cell walls in tomatoes, leaving them with that mushy bite no one enjoys. But it's not just about taste or texture. From a health perspective, chilling your tomatoes can also lead to nutrient loss, especially of lycopene, one of the most powerful antioxidants found in tomatoes. Lycopene has been shown in numerous studies to help reduce the risk of heart disease and prostate cancer, two major concerns for people over 60. When tomatoes are exposed to cold, the lycopene content diminishes, meaning you're missing out on one of the key benefits that tomatoes offer. So what should you do instead? Store your tomatoes at room temperature, away from direct sunlight. And here's a simple tip I often share with my senior clients. Place them stem side down on the counter to prevent moisture loss and slow bacterial entry through the stem scar. Let them ripen naturally, don't rush the process. If you're someone who only shops once a week, and you're worried about tomatoes going overripe, it's okay to refrigerate them, but only once they're fully ripe. Just make sure to bring them back to room temperature before eating, so you can restore some of that flavor and texture you'd otherwise lose. And here's something many people don't know. Don't store tomatoes next to bananas or apples. These fruits release ethylene gas, which speeds up ripening and can cause tomatoes to spoil too quickly, especially if you don't plan to use them right away. So the next time you bring home those plump, red tomatoes, treat them with care. Keep them out of the fridge, let them ripen in peace, and you'll enjoy a richer flavor, better texture, and more of the nutrients that support your heart and overall health. 3. Onions. Let's take a moment to talk about onions, a flavorful foundation in so many of our favorite home-cooked meals. Whether you're sautéing them for a soup, roasting them for dinner, or using them as a base for sauces, onions bring that rich, aromatic depth we all know and love. But here's something that many people don't realize. The refrigerator is one of the worst places to store them. Over the last decade, I've seen many well-meaning seniors try to extend the shelf life of onions by placing them in the fridge. Unfortunately, that cold and humid environment actually speeds up spoilage. When onions are exposed to refrigerator temperatures, the starches inside them begin to convert into sugars. This not only alters the flavor, making them taste oddly sweet, but also changes their texture. Instead of a crisp bite, you get a soft, sometimes slimy bulb that feels unpleasant and cooks unevenly. But it doesn't stop there. The humidity in your fridge promotes the growth of mold and bacteria. Onions are naturally absorbent, which means they also soak up the odors of nearby foods. That beautiful aroma you expect when slicing into a fresh onion? It can be easily masked or distorted by the smell of last night's leftovers. From a health standpoint, consuming spoiled or moldy onions, especially for seniors with weakened immune systems, can increase the risk of gastrointestinal upset or exposure to toxins that the body can't eliminate as efficiently as it NCE did. And that's not a risk worth taking over a simple storage mistake. So what's the better option? Store your onions in a cool, dry, well-ventilated space, like a pantry or cupboard. I recommend using mesh bags, paper bags, or open baskets. Anything that allows airflow and keeps moisture at bay. Whatever you do, avoid sealing onions in plastic. That traps moisture and speeds up decay. Here's a tip I always share with older clients. Never store onions next to potatoes. While they seem like pantry neighbors, potatoes release moisture and gases that cause onions to sprout and spoil faster. And if you see green shoots emerging from your onions, it's a sign they're past their prime and potentially less safe to eat. So, next time you're putting away groceries, skip the fridge when it comes to onions. Give them a dry, breathable home, and you'll be rewarded with longer-lasting freshness, stronger flavor, and safer meals. It's one of those small kitchen changes that can make a big impact, especially as we age and need every ingredient to work a little harder for our health. 4. Garlic. Now let's talk about garlic, a kitchen essential that's beloved not just for its flavor, but also for its impressive health benefits. Whether you're using it to season your meals or as part of a natural wellness routine, garlic has long been recognized as one of the most powerful healing foods. But here's something many people don't realize. Storing garlic in the fridge can silently rob it of everything that makes it special. After spending over a decade working with seniors on nutrition and disease prevention, I've seen just how valuable garlic can be, especially for aging hearts, immune systems, and circulation. But to reap those benefits, you have to store it right. When garlic is placed in the cold, damp environment of a refrigerator, it tends to sprout prematurely. And while those green shoots may not seem harmful, they bring a bitter taste and signal that the bulb is starting to break down nutritionally. Even more important is the effect cold storage has on allicin, the potent compound that gives garlic its signature aroma and its immune-boosting, anti-inflammatory, and heart-supporting properties. Allicin forms when garlic is chopped or crushed, but refrigeration can degrade that potential before you ever get to use it. I've seen many seniors using garlic daily, but not getting the full benefits simply because it's been stored improperly. Plus, the refrigerator's humidity creates a perfect storm for mold and decay. Garlic doesn't like moisture. It needs airflow and dryness to stay stable and usable. A damp bulb not only loses flavor and nutrition, but also becomes unsafe to consume if mold begins to grow. And because garlic is highly absorbent, it can take on strange smells and tastes from other foods in the fridge, compromising both your meals and your health. So what's the best way to store garlic? Keep it at room temperature in a well-ventilated container, like a mesh basket, an open bowl, or a traditional clay garlic keeper. Avoid sealed plastic containers, which trap moisture and promote spoilage. Give your garlic the breathing space it needs, and it'll reward you with a bold flavor and potent health benefits. Here's a reminder just for you. Garlic has been shown to help lower blood pressure, support healthy cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and fight off infections. All critical concerns as we age, but only if it's stored in a way that preserves its natural power. So next time you unpack your groceries, give your garlic the dry, airy space it deserves. It's a small shift in your kitchen, but one that can support your heart, boost your immune system, and keep your food tasting exactly how it should: rich, bold, and full of life. 5. Avocados. Now let's talk about avocados. Creamy, delicious, and loaded with nutrients. They've become a favorite among health-conscious eaters of all ages, and for good reason. But here's something I've seen time and again in both home kitchens and nutrition consults. People refrigerate avocados before they're ripe, and end up ruining them without knowing why. You see, avocados are unique in that they continue to ripen after being harvested. But when you place them in the refrigerator before they've softened, you disrupt that natural ripening process. The result? A rubbery, tough, and flavorless fruit that never quite reaches the rich, buttery texture you expect. And this is especially important for seniors. As we age, our sense of taste can fade, and texture becomes even more important to appetite and enjoyment. I've worked with many older adults who avoided avocados simply because they thought they didn't like the taste, when in reality, the fruit was never ripened properly in the first place. But the real tragedy? You may also be losing access to some of the key nutrients that make avocados so valuable: monounsaturated fats, potassium, fiber, and antioxidants that support heart health, brain function, and inflammation control. Cold-stunted avocados may not fully develop these benefits. So what's the right way to store them? Keep unripe avocados at room temperature, ideally on your kitchen counter. To speed up ripening, place them in a brown paper bag with a banana or apple. These fruits release ethylene gas, which accelerates the process naturally. Once your avocado feels slightly soft to the touch and yields gently under pressure, that's when you can refrigerate it, but only if you're not ready to eat it right away. The cold will pause the ripening, buying you an extra day or two. Here's a practical tip I often share with older clients. If you only eat half an avocado at a time, which many do, brush the exposed flesh with a little lemon or lime juice to prevent browning. Then store it in an airtight container in the fridge. The acidity slows oxidation and helps maintain both flavor and nutrients. And remember, avocados aren't just trendy. They're a smart, nutrient-dense food that can help regulate blood pressure, lower bad cholesterol, and support cognitive health. But only if you treat them right. So next time you bring home a few avocados, don't toss them straight into the fridge. Let them ripen naturally, enjoy their full flavor and creamy texture, and let your body benefit from everything this incredible fruit has to offer. 6. Bananas. Let's turn our attention to a fruit that's probably sitting on your kitchen counter right now: bananas. Soft, sweet, easy to digest, and full of potassium, Bananas are a go-to snack for many seniors. But here's something most people don't realize. Putting bananas in the fridge can actually ruin both their flavor and nutritional value. Over the years, I've had countless conversations with older adults who were confused by their bananas turning black so quickly in the fridge. The peel darkens, the texture changes, and the taste seems off. The truth is, bananas are tropical fruits. They don't like the cold. When exposed to refrigerator temperatures, their natural ripening process is disrupted, and the enzymes responsible for converting starches into sugars slow down dramatically. What does that mean for you? You're left with a banana that looks overripe on the outside, but inside, it's still firm, starchy, and far less sweet than it should be. This can be disappointing, especially for seniors who rely on softer, naturally sweet foods to encourage regular meals and easy digestion. And from a nutrition standpoint, improperly ripened bananas may not provide the same level of digestible carbohydrates and energy, which are essential for maintaining stable blood sugar and preventing fatigue throughout the day. So what's the right way to store them? Keep bananas at room temperature, away from heat or direct sunlight. If you want to slow down ripening, separate them from the bunch and store them individually. This reduces ethylene exposure, a natural gas the fruit emits to speed up ripening. And here's a helpful tip I always share with my senior clients. If your bananas become too ripe before you can eat them, don't toss them out. Freeze them instead. Peel and slice them. Then store in an airtight bag or container in the freezer. They're perfect for smoothies, oatmeal, or even healthy banana pancakes. You'll reduce waste and keep a ready supply of natural sweetness on hand. Bananas also offer a unique combination of potassium, vitamin B6, and fiber, making them especially helpful for managing blood pressure, supporting heart health, and improving digestion, areas that become more important as we age. So the next time you're tempted to pop your bananas into the fridge, pause for a moment. Let them ripen naturally, enjoy their full flavor and soft texture, and know that you're giving your body the nourishment it needs with every bite. 7. Uncut melons. Let's talk about melons. Whether it's watermelon, cantaloupe, or honeydew, these juicy fruits are some of the most refreshing and hydrating foods you can eat, especially during the warmer months. But here's something many people don't realize. If you're storing whole, uncut melons in the refrigerator, you could be diminishing both their flavor and their health benefits, without even knowing it. After working with older adults for over a decade, I've found that melons are often underappreciated. Not only are they naturally sweet and easy to chew, they're also loaded with water, fiber, and essential vitamins like vitamin C and beta-carotene, all of which are critical for maintaining hydration, supporting immunity, and protecting skin and eye health as we age. But here's the catch. Refrigeration can interfere with those benefits. When you store whole melons in the fridge, the cold slows down their natural ripening process and interferes with the internal sugar development that gives them their signature sweet flavor. That's why a chilled melon might look beautiful on the outside, but taste watery or bland when you cut into it. The texture can also become grainy or mealy, far from the juicy bite you were expecting. And from a nutritional standpoint, cold temperatures have been shown to reduce the antioxidant levels in melons, particularly beta-carotene and cantaloupe. These antioxidants are vital for older adults who may be more vulnerable to oxidative stress, inflammation, and immune decline. So what should you do instead? Store your whole melons at room temperature until you're ready to slice them. Let them ripen naturally on the counter so they can reach peak sweetness and nutrient density. Once you cut into a melon, then it's time to refrigerate it. Wrap the cut surface with plastic wrap or store slices in an airtight container, and aim to eat them within 3 to 4 days for maximum freshness. Here's a tip I always share with my senior clients. Because melons have such high water content, they're a fantastic food to help prevent dehydration, a common and often overlooked issue in older adults. Adding a few slices to your daily routine is a simple way to stay hydrated and nourished, especially if you find it hard to drink enough water. So next time you bring home a fresh, whole melon, skip the fridge, at least until it's cut. Let it ripen on your counter, enjoy the sweetness and juiciness it was meant to offer, and give your body the hydration, fiber, and antioxidants it needs to thrive. 8. Bread. Let's move on to a household staple that brings comfort to so many: bread. Whether it's a slice of toast in the morning, a sandwich at lunch, or something warm to enjoy with a bowl of soup, bread is a familiar part of daily life. But here's something you may not know. Storing bread in the refrigerator can actually make it go stale faster, not slower. Over the past 10 years working with seniors on nutrition and healthy aging, I've seen this mistake made over and over. People trying to extend the life of their bread by keeping it cold. Unfortunately, refrigeration causes the starch molecules in bread to recrystallize much more quickly, a process called retrogradation. That's just a fancy way of saying your soft, fluffy loaf turns dry, tough, and stale faster than if you just left it on the counter. And it's not just about texture. Cold storage can also create moisture imbalance inside the bag. The crust may turn soggy while the inside hardens, making each slice less enjoyable and harder to chew, especially for older adults who may have dental issues or reduced saliva production. From a health standpoint, overly dry bread may discourage you from eating regular meals or cause you to add more spreads, butter, or sugary toppings just to make it taste better. Over time, that can add up to unnecessary calories and fats, something we want to manage carefully as we age. So, what's the better solution? If you plan to eat the loaf within a few days, store your bread at room temperature in a bread box or cool, dry pantry, away from direct heat or sunlight. But if you live alone or eat bread more slowly, freezing is your best option. Slice the loaf before freezing, then pull out just what you need. You can toast it directly from the freezer, no need to thaw. And here's something I always recommend to my senior clients. Freezing helps prevent mold, which can develop more easily in humid environments or if bread is stored improperly. It's a smart, safe way to reduce waste, save money, and always have a fresh slice when you want it. So next time you're tempted to slide your bread into the fridge, pause and reconsider. Choose a storage method that keeps your bread soft, delicious, and ready when you are. A small change in your routine could mean better meals, better texture, and better health. 9. Olive oil. Let's wrap up with a kitchen essential that many of us use almost every day, olive oil. Whether you're cooking up vegetables, drizzling it on salads, or dipping fresh bread, olive oil adds rich flavor and brings incredible health benefits. But here's something I've seen go wrong time and time again. People store their olive oil in the refrigerator, thinking it will last longer. In reality, it may be doing more harm than good. Over the past decade, I've worked with hundreds of seniors looking to improve their heart health, reduce inflammation, and support brain function, and olive oil is often one of the first things I recommend. But storing it improperly can quietly undo much of its power. When you place olive oil in the fridge, the cold temperature causes it to solidify and turn cloudy or waxy. That doesn't mean it's gone bad, but it does make it inconvenient to use, especially when you're in the middle of preparing a meal and need it flowing smoothly. Even worse, refrigeration can lead to condensation forming inside the bottle, which may cause spoilage over time and increase the risk of bacterial contamination, especially in improperly sealed containers. This is particularly important if you're using extra virgin olive oil, which is more delicate and prone to oxidation. Exposure to light, heat, or moisture can degrade its quality quickly, causing it to lose flavor and antioxidant potency. So what's the best way to store it? Keep your olive oil in a cool, dark place, like a pantry or cupboard away from the stove and any direct sunlight. Ideally, it should be stored in a dark glass bottle or stainless steel container, which helps protect it from light exposure. Never transfer olive oil into plastic containers, and don't leave the cap loose. Air is the enemy of freshness. Why does this matter so much, especially for seniors? Because olive oil is packed with monounsaturated fats, polyphenol, and vitamin E, compounds that support cardiovascular health, reduce oxidative stress, and may even slow cognitive decline. But these benefits only remain intact if the oil is properly stored. So next time you reach for that bottle of olive oil, check where you've been keeping it. If it's in the fridge, now's the time to move it to a better spot. With just a small adjustment, you can preserve the taste, texture, and most importantly, the powerful health benefits this golden oil has to offer. Now you know, your refrigerator isn't always the safe zone we think it is. In fact, when it comes to some of the most common foods in your kitchen, keeping them cold can actually do more harm than good. Especially if you're over 60, making these simple storage changes can have a real impact on your health, energy, and even how much you enjoy your food. Because here's the truth I've seen again and again over the past decade. As we age, our bodies work harder to digest, absorb, and benefit from the nutrients we eat. That means every bite matters. So when flavor is lost, texture is off, or vital nutrients are destroyed just because something was stored the wrong way, it's not a small thing. It's a missed opportunity to support your well-being, one meal at a time. If this video helped you rethink a few habits, I'd love to know, which of these foods surprised you the most? Were you refrigerating something you now know shouldn't be in there? Go ahead and leave a comment below. Just type, "No fridge mistakes," and let's talk about it. And while you're here, please take a moment to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps more people discover helpful tips like these. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on practical health strategies created just for seniors who want to stay strong, sharp, and independent. Remember, healthy aging doesn't always require big changes. Sometimes, it starts with the simple things, like knowing where not to store your tomatoes, or giving your garlic a little breathing room. Thank you so much for watching and for taking care of your health one choice at a time. I'm proud of you for being here. Until next time, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.